Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. My name is Salvador Briggman, and today we're getting into talking a little bit about the next stage after you've created your first product draft. You've sketched it out. You have a sense of how it looks from a two-dimensional perspective. Now we're going to go into 3 dimensions. We're going into the next dimension. We're talking about that on today's YouTube video. Okay, so let's get into this. You have a bunch of sketches which you've already done. So these are two-dimensional sketches, but also could be obviously from a view where you're sketching a cube. You know, technically it's 2 dimensions because it's on paper, but you have a sense of like how it looks from a 3-dimensional perspective. So at least you have a few different looks and feels of your product. And now it's like, okay, I want to go into the next stage, which is creating a 3-dimensional prototype or a 3-dimensional model of some kind, which is going to give me a few different answers. So first of all, I want to get into like what questions this should answer and how to think about the prototyping stage of this product. Product ideation, rapid prototyping, this is all about, it's actually really in line with Lean Startup Methodology, which is a really good book by Eric Ries about the Lean Startup, which is more for actually web development companies and apps, but it actually really applies as well to physical products. So it's all about answering questions and solving and identifying problems. Now, questions could be questions that arise as you come up with this product idea where you realize, oh man, I have to actually think more about how someone might interact with this product, or other ideas that come up as a result of you now having this physical thing that you can try out and you can say, this is really heavy, or this holds really oddly in the hand, or the way that it functions just isn't the way that I thought, and kind of have to refine things. So thinking about this, not just as like I'm creating the end product, but more so I'm learning as much as possible about how the user who I think is going to use the product is going to interact with this product. Let's take one simple example here. So we'll take an everyday object, which is a pen, right? A pen is designed to do something. It solves a problem. It allows you to write things down so you don't forget them. It allows you to write things down so you can show them to other people. You can also use it to sketch things out, to draw things. It's turning ideas and concepts you have in your head onto a 2-dimensional form so you can communicate it to other people. And you don't think a lot about pens, obviously, but that's really the goal of a pen. So you have one type of pen here, and now we have another type of pen. These do the exact same things. They technically solve the same problems in that they both have ink, they both write, allow us to do these things, but there are 2 different types of people. One is going to be buying, a $15 pen or a $20 pen versus a $1 pen or a couple cents in order to buy this pen. Let's think a little bit about that and use this in this example. Let's just say that in your example, you wanted to create a product that makes people feel like they're using something that gives them that luxury feeling, that makes it feel like they're a professional, that makes them feel legit. And when they're working with their clients, those clients also see them as being professional and they feel good and about their workplace. It gives them that kind of a vibe. And in a sense, it almost is playing to the ego. Like it raises your perceived social status. If you were to create the first ideation of a pen and it looked like this, and you saw that it looked the same way that every other pen does out there in the marketplace, you'd be like, well, this does the job, right? It solves a problem, but it doesn't change the way that I feel about this activity of writing, about this activity of going to work every day and having to go be on client calls or have meetings, and no one really makes any kind of remarks about this pen. So while I created a prototype, technically, it doesn't achieve the end result that I was thinking. So I have to rethink this. I have to think of, how do I make this feel more luxury? Well, if you're paying attention to psychology, you'll know that when things are luxury, they typically have much denser materials that they're made of. If you think of this as watch, typically a really high-priced watch is also going to be pretty heavy. A chain around your neck, which is made of gold, is going to be really heavy. Substance tends to be correlated with luxury. Obviously not always, but that tends to be the case. So one problem you could remedy with this is that it could be made of different materials rather than plastic. So if you created the first prototype, right, maybe of some other materials, you're using 3D printing or something like that, you might then be like, okay, so we need to think about the materials here because I'm not getting that feeling yet. The other thing we can think about is just the general look and feel. This looks exactly like every other pen out there on the marketplace. It's made of plastic. It almost has the exact same way of solving a particular problem. So it doesn't stand out in any kind of way. And one of the feelings that an end user wants to get is they want to feel like the thing they bought stands out. Hence, it is luxury. So when we think luxury, we think commands attention. When we think luxury, we think stands out, is different in some way. A Lamborghini is a luxury car because not a lot of cars look like a Lamborghini, right? You instantly notice that that is an expensive car because of the form factor. because of the way it looks, and obviously also because of the engine and the actual inner working and mechanics. But for now, we'll just stay with this pen example. So let's just say we go back to the drawing board and we think a little bit about it, and we create sort of something that's in the middle, right? So we think of, okay, how can we create this a little bit more weighty, right? This pen, number one, we can change up the materials. Number two, rather than just having a grip here or top little cap here, we're gonna make this one uniform device. And finally, we're gonna make it just look a little bit more aesthetic, a little bit more ergonomic. So we come back to the drawing board and we're like, okay, we created this version of the pen. So this thing is silver. It's obviously not silver, it's metal. It looks like it's silver kind of looking. It's a lot more ergonomically designed. It's all in one. It doesn't have a cap or anything like that. So you just kind of turn this thing in order to get the pen to come out. So this feels a little bit more luxury and serious than just this kind of plastic cheap pen that everyone has, which isn't really give any kind of feel whatsoever. It's just ordinary. It gives a little bit more feel. It looks a little bit more interesting. It's a little bit more eye-catching, just when it comes to also the color of the silver. So it's gonna capture a little bit of attention. It's a little bit more high quality. Let's just say that we wanted to take this even a step further, right? So with prototyping, then thinking a little bit about, okay, we have the material, which is giving that feel, but we actually want to go even more. We want to go a little bit deeper. So we'll think about, what are the situations where I'm dealing with someone where they have a pen that makes me feel like this person really is legit, that it's an expensive transaction, that it's a serious transaction, a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. We're trying to make a pen that a lawyer or a doctor would use, not someone who's like a product designer or someone who's like a millennial, right? We really want like almost an older feeling kind of a pen that's a little bit more serious. But when I think of serious, I think of colors, because colors connotate different emotions. One color of silver is going to give you a different feeling based on instead of a color of white versus a color of gold versus pink. All of these colors give you different emotions and different feelings. So what we could do is we could change up the color of this pen, and also we could change up the look and feel. So it's a little bit more traditional. Maybe it's a little bit actually too modern looking in that it doesn't have a cap. So we'll just go with the third iteration, let's just say, and we go back to the drawing board and we come up with this third idea. Now this third pen is a little bit more weighty. It also has a cap, but it's a really ornate looking cap. This is something that can, if you have like a button-down shirt, you could easily put this into one of your pockets. And just looking at this is obviously black. When I think of black, I'm usually thinking more of lawyers, doctors, accountants, those kinds of intensive professions. We open up the pen here. It's already very weighty. It's very easy to write with here, I'm seeing. And it just kind of feels a little bit more luxury and high class, something you would associate with a real estate broker, or when you're making an expensive transaction, you'd probably be more likely to use this kind of a pen than this kind of a pen. Because we naturally would correlate, if you're using like a cheap pen, it's probably not a super serious person or professional. If for some reason they've gone through enough decision to buy a pen like this, they're probably serious about the profession. They're probably very used to making transactions, and this is why they actually bought a pen that looks so nice like this. So it gives you a different feel. Now, obviously, when it comes to prototyping, you don't always make the prototype out of the end materials, right? So you might be just answering the question of the color question when you're prototyping. You might be asking the question of the weight question, or the look and feel. Do I want to have a cap on the pen or not? How do I want it to hold in the hand? Do I want it to be kind of more of like a glossy look? So this obviously catches the eye, glossy look. Or do I want it to be more of like a silver, this is almost like a little bit more rough kind of, I don't know, it's blurry. Like when I'm looking at this, it's more of a gray, I don't even know the word I would say for this, versus this is more like shiny kind of looking. Whatever the opposite of shiny you would say would be this kind of obscure kind of a look, but this is more like modern looking to me. This is a little bit more traditional. And then you have this one, which is just cheap. It doesn't stand out at all, right? Aside from maybe like white, maybe catching your attention, but it just doesn't give you a second thought. So this would be just a very simple example of how you would psychologically start to ask yourself questions as you're going through the prototype phase. How is it someone would use this? What does it look? What emotions are they attaching to the product? How does it feel? What are the colors? Eventually, you're going to get into the next stage, which is the CAD designs, the blueprint, the engineering. So for example, engineering the actual ink that goes into this, how is that going to work? Or if you're using this one, how is you going to twist this and have the little nozzle come out, have the little pen come out? You're going to get more into that, into the CAD design phase with engineering. And that's really when you have the blueprint, which you're then going to hand to the manufacturer or the factory to mass produce lots and lots of pens. I hope that that kind of example was a little bit helpful for you. I also want to thank the sponsor of today's show, The Gadget Flow. Gadget Flow reaches over 28 million people, and they've been around since 2012. They're Indiegogo and Kickstarter experts. They featured over 5,000 crowdfunding campaigns. If you have a tech or design campaign, it is a great platform to generate awareness and get backers. Check them out at thegadgetflow.com/submit and list your project today. This is the process you're going to go through before you launch a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign or a crowdfunding campaign. So this is really when, once you have the prototype and once you have like a relatively finished prototype, that's when you can start to take product photos of it. You can start to take marketing videos, and that's when you're going to want to start a Kickstarter or Indiegogo campaign. And you would do that in order to get the funds necessary to purchase the minimum order quantity for this product, and also to get social proof, to get pre-orders, to get traction, to get backers and customers. There's a lot that goes into a Kickstarter campaign. If you are interested in that, go and check out the link down below to book a one-on-one coaching call with me, an intensive hour-long call. In addition, go and join the free course I have out there on how to launch a successful Kickstarter campaign. I also got the book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, which is available on Audible and Amazon, etc. And finally, give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Come subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want more videos like this. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I will see you next time.